All right, if you're here to learn how to build Rally apps and extend our platform with JavaScript, you are in the right spot. In this short session, we're going to talk about a development environment that we've used for our hackathons. My name is David Thomas. I'm a systems engineer on the sales team here at Rally Software. I've been here for about 4 years. I live out in Santa Cruz, California, and I love working on our platform. If you happen to see a bike behind me, that's my 6-year-old's race bike. I was going to move it, but I thought it was kind of a neat metaphor for rapid development, which the tools that we're going to talk about for this development environment are going to support. So we'll leave it there. So in any case, so we're going to talk about 3 tools. We're going to talk about GitHub, Cloud9 IDE, and the Rally App Builder. Now GitHub you might be familiar with, right? That's an online source code repository. That's where we're going to check in all of our code and have it hosted up in the cloud. The Cloud9 IDE you might not be familiar with. It's a really great online code editor. Now, folks like myself who are diehard Vim users, we tend to stick with our own tools. And thankfully, Cloud9 has a Vim key binding support. But anyway, if you're looking just to drop in like for a day or two or just for a week and get coding on something pretty quick, save all your stuff up on the cloud, not have to worry about setting up your local environment, Cloud9 IDE is a great tool. And then lastly, we'll talk about the Rally App Builder, which for building the skeleton of your app. And you've probably used that if you followed the prior videos. Now, these tools, we've used these up in the upper right-hand corner there. You can see we've been using this combination for several years now, and with at least 8 hackathons, at least 8 that I've participated in, both with customers and as well as internal ones. So they've gotten some traction. We've had some issues over the past, but things have worked themselves out. Thankfully they're online tools. They push code out and push changes out and features out and bug fixes out with a regular cadence, and so we've seen those improvements along the way. And frankly, we just hosted a hackathon, a customer hackathon up in Seattle recently, and we used this stack, and we were really pleased with the outcome. Okay, so let's jump to some code and environment. Okay, so where do we start? The first place we're going to start is I always start at the developer portal, developer.rallydev.com. I always want to have this one up because this is going to give me access to the links to the Rally App Builder, links to the videos this video series, link to the SDK docs, etc. So I like to start here. But the first tool we're going to talk about is GitHub. So we're going to go to github.com. Now, as you saw on that slide, you want to make sure, in this environment, you want to make sure you create your account in GitHub first, because Cloud9 will integrate with GitHub, and we'll use that same account. So I'm going to go ahead and sign into GitHub. It already has my credentials. That's cool. And so now from here, I'll go full screen. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and create a new repository. And there's probably a couple places you can do depending on the screen, but I'll just create a new repository. We'll call this my YZX app. Cool app. So we'll create a repository. This is the unique name to your repository. I'll use a free public account, and I'll initialize it with a README file and go ahead and create that repository in GitHub. So there we have our basic app. Now what's neat is that even though you can come down in the lower right-hand corner and get access to the URLs to clone and do all that stuff manually, what's neat about Cloud9 is that it's going to automatically slurp up all of your repositories in GitHub. So let's create a new tab and go to c9.io. The URL was in that slide earlier. Now I want to be careful. You want to be careful here because you can sign up. You can sign up here for a Cloud9 specific account. I've never really gone down that route. Rather, you can sign in with GitHub. You can see there's a little logo for GitHub here down there, or if you mouse over along the top, you can sign in with GitHub. So I just click the little icon there. And that's going to log me into Cloud9. And what you'll see on the left-hand side, on the top are your projects that you're currently working on with Cloud9. Maybe you're collaborating with other people on their projects. That's in the middle. And down below, you'll see there's one called Projects with GitHub, or in GitHub, on GitHub. And if I scroll down here, I can see the My ZZYZX app. So what I want to do now is, so it's recognized that the app exists in GitHub. And what I want to do is I want to clone that and bring that app down into the Cloud9 environment. And the Cloud9 basically gives you like a virtual server environment. It's really powerful. So here you can see it already knows that URL to your app. If you have a particular type of technology you're using, Cloud9 can kind of morph itself and give you some tools and syntax highlighting, all that good stuff. I just choose custom for the Rally app stuff. And hit create. And you'll see underneath the app name that it's cloning that workspace. And it's basically creating an instance of Git in the Cloud9 environment and cloning your GitHub instance down into here. So now you'll actually have two repositories. And we'll talk about how to keep those in sync as we go in the workflow. So from here, we're ready to go. I'll go ahead and you'll notice also on the left, under My Projects, you now have a MyZZYZ app. MyZZYZX app under My Projects, which means you have a repository in Cloud9, right? And that means that you can commit your changes to the Cloud9 environment all day long, and it's not until you push them to GitHub that you'll share them on the GitHub account, and presumably you'll share them on the GitHub when you're ready to share with the rest of the world, and they're usable and they're valuable. In any case, so I have my project here. I'll go ahead and start editing in Cloud9. You can see I have a unique URL to my Cloud9 app, which is pretty cool. And here on the left-hand side, you can see the files that I have. I only have one file. If I go ahead and open it, here's my README. Call it my app out a cool road in California. If you don't know about ZZYZX, there's actually a road. I drove by it and took a picture. Maybe I'll put that in here too. So it does exist. So it's a neat name. Neat story behind it too. In any case, so we're making some changes. Command S and save. But I only have one file, right? So how do I build a Rally app? So right now, all I've done is I've connected GitHub to Cloud9, and I have an environment where I can edit files. But I need some more files to edit. So let's go back to our developer portal, and here you can see a link to the Rally app builder, and it's used to create a skeleton Rally app to get you started. So I'll go ahead and click on that. It's also in GitHub, and if I scroll down, I'll see the instructions here. Now this assumes that you're building an environment completely like from scratch, like on your Mac or on your Linux box or Windows box, and assumes you have to kind of build up the environment. But Cloud9 actually comes with some stuff out of the box. So for example, in our case, we do not have to install Node. Node is already in Cloud9. So we can come down and just install the app builder like module or library. So I'll copy that code, that npm node package manage and install line. Right, Node lets you run JavaScript locally on the server side, and npm is a package manager that will go and fetch libraries for you and install them locally. So I'll go to my app development in Cloud9. Along the bottom, you'll see a terminal. Right, I told you Cloud9 gives you basically your own sort of cloud development environment. I can list the files in my project. I can see what directory I'm working in. You can see it's all kind of generated. They're doing some really fancy magic behind the scenes, but I basically have my own own environment here, like server environment. So I can do like node version. It tells me I'm running node 1022. But let's go ahead and paste in that code and install the app builder. So paste npm install -g Rally app builder. And this might take a minute. So if I decide to clip this out of the video, that's why it went really, really fast in the video. But give yourself a minute here. Actually, maybe while we're waiting, we'll go ZZYZX, so you don't road. You don't think I'm completely crazy. There you go. There's a real spot. You can see that's the sign I took a photo of. I was actually there randomly, unexpectedly. I took that photo. I took a photo, not that photo. So anyway, some cool history about this road. Okay, so that actually took about 2.5 minutes. And so obviously I clipped some of that so we didn't waste our time. But now we have the app builder installed. So down below I should be able to type Rally-app builder. So we have that tool now available to us. So what do we do with it now that we have it installed? So let's go back to our, let's get rid of that. Let's go back to Rally app builder. So in here you see the usage, Rally app builder, you give it a command and some options. One of those commands is init. And if we go look, kind of scroll down here under the init command, you say Rally app builder init, and you give it the name of an app. So I'll go ahead and just copy that. And I realized that full screen you really can't see along the bottom, so I'll change that. Okay, so let's paste in clear. So let's go ahead and paste in Rally App Builder init. We'll do my ZZYZX app. It's really kind of hard to type. Oh, well, it's kind of funny. So I'll go ahead and do that. And the Rally App Builder is going to build up a set of files for us that initialize what we need to build a Rally app. And here you can see on the left that Cloud9 automatically detected those files being created. And there we go. So we have some files to edit. And if you've watched those previous videos, right, app.js, that's our entry point into an app, right? The launch function right here. So that's where like we can come in and put like console.log, our first app has arrived. Okay. And notice you can see up in the right-hand corner it says changes saved. So you can tell if like needs a little star if you have modifications, and I'll have like Command S and save it, and then it says saving changes saved. So you kind of get that the notifications that you're saving stuff on out in the cloud, which is nice. Got to keep an eye on that. Okay, so I've made some changes. Now what? Right, I added this console log. I want to see those changes in Rally. So I'm going to do the longhand division first, which is build the full app, get the code, and go paste it in Rally. Okay, so what do? Well, according to Rally App Builder, there's a build command, and the build command will compile your app into a single HTML page that can be copy and pasted into a Rally custom HTML page. Okay, so we go to Cloud9 and we say Rally App Builder build. And that will create several files, one of which we're interested in is app.html. So in the deploy directory up above, we'll see app.html. So go ahead and open that up. And it's compiled the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, and in our code is kind of way buried way in there. But so I'm going to go ahead and just select it all and go over to, oops, there we go, to Rally 1. I'll log into Rally 1. Now we used a console log for our first app, so I definitely want to make sure I turn on my developer console. So in Chrome under Tools, like JavaScript console, make sure we have that handy. So I'll go ahead and add an app in Rally, custom HTML, add it. And I'm just going to paste in our code, real simple. And what do we see? Up top we see app SDK link. I don't know where that came from. Well, I do, but I'll show you. And then down below it says our first app has arrived. So we went from, over in Cloud9, we went from code in our app.js, compiled that into app.html over here, copied and pasted that, put it into Rally. So if I want to come in and make some changes, like for example, that link in the app is actually, they hard-coded a link up here, but you can actually change this to be real HTML, right? You can say like, my first ZZYZX app. Save it. Rally App Builder build. Wait till that builds. Open up the HTML file. Copy. Come over to Rally. Edit the panel. Get rid of the code, old code. Put in the new code. Paste and save. And there you can see my first ZZYX app. Okay. So that's it. Now we have a full round trip. We can come into Cloud9. We can make changes and compile it, put it out in Rally, and see those changes. Right? It's not that bad, but we can definitely improve on it. So let's talk about that. How do we make that dev test cycle much faster? Kind of like that race bike. Okay, so in the list of files here, you'll see a file called app.debug.html. So if I open that up, you'll see it's actually some, I wouldn't say it's complex stuff, but you'll see there's some pretty neat logic here for basically automatically loading files, sort of at runtime when the file gets loaded. So you don't actually have to like compile things. It'll just automatically load whatever the file is at that point in time. So the trick here is that you don't have to edit this file, but if you open it up and you hit preview in Cloud9, on the right-hand side, it'll give you the embedded Cloud9 preview, which is sort of fine, but I like having the Chrome JavaScript console available, and I kind of like to have a clean environment for when I'm testing. So you can either copy this URL or just hit the little pop-out icon here on the right, upper right. And that will create a new tab and give you a clean tab for your app. So here you can see the app code, and I'll turn on my JavaScript console. Maybe one of these days I'll get the hotkeys for that down. And then if I reload here, I do a quick reload, you'll see in the console, there's our first app has arrived, and we see our text up there. Okay, so go back to Cloud9. Usually what I do is I'll just close out the preview window. I don't need that. I'm never going to edit the app debug HTML. I'll close that. All I really need is my app.js file, because I can come in here and say, this is version 2 in the console, and put version 2 in the HTML, save those changes, come over to this tab, and refresh. Now you can see in the console this is version 2, and in the top this is version 2. That is fast. No copying and pasting allowed. Okay, so let's make a couple of real changes. Well, actually, this is a let me take a quick step back. Let's commit our work, right? This is a working app. It does something, may not be useful, but we have a working app. So let's go back into our source control mindset. So we have Git installed in Cloud9. So if I do git status, it's going to say that, let's do that again so you can see, that I have a whole bunch of files that are untracked. So I can just do, since it's a brand new project, git add everything in. And this is in the Cloud9 repository, right? We're not talking GitHub yet. So I add everything, git status. And now it says, hey, great, now you have some changes to be committed. So I'll do git commit. First commit for ZZYZX app that displays text. I'll do a commit, and that's going to put it into the Cloud9 repository. If I go over to GitHub and do a refresh, what you'll notice is that nothing's in GitHub. All I have is that original README. My code is still in Cloud9, so if I want to get it to GitHub, I need to do a git push. And now it'll say it sent it to github.com/blah, which is over here. And if I refresh, now I have all my files over in GitHub. And if I go look at app.js, for example, you'll see here's our version 2 information, strings, display strings. Okay, so we've taken all of our changes from Cloud9 and sent them to GitHub. Now GitHub is nice and safe. So Cloud9 can come and go. You can destroy this project. You can always clone it back from GitHub as the original source. This is nice because Cloud9 gives you a place where you can commit, test, break things, right? It's like a sandbox, and you push to GitHub when you're ready to make it available for others to really use. So let's do something let's add a quasi useful feature here. So I'm going to go into the, let's see, where am I going to go? Let's go back to the developer portal. I'm going to go down to the SDK docs for Rally. I'll make one last change and wrap up this session here. So I'm going to go and let's look at, for example, make this a little bigger so it gives me 2 columns. Here we go. Let's go look at the iteration combo box, a real Rally item. So here you can see that in this example, they have an items array in their container, like on our app, and they just add the X type for that, a shorthand version for adding it. So I'm going to go and just copy that. You might recall using X types in the prior video, so I'm just going to do a shorthand version. So I'm going to add that up to the items. Now, keep in mind, I actually made this mistake. This example is really good. It's subtle, right? Items, if you're in a container, which our app is, items, you can give it one or more as long as you give it into an array, right? So you have to have the array brackets, and then inside each item is an object with the braces. And I messed that up earlier when I was testing this out. So I actually want to make this, because I'm going to add more than one. I'm going to add brackets for the array, and then I'm going to add another one, paste in the X type of iteration combo box. Okay, save that. Come over to test it and reload. So now I have text, and I have a pull down with my iterations coming out of Rally. It's pretty cool. Let's add another one. Let's add another one here, another object, and inside I'll put a Rally release combo box, a list of my releases. Okay, come over, refresh. All right, so just proving out we can, even in this development environment, we're pulling from our real Rally data. Okay, those are my releases that I have. And maybe I don't like the layout here, the top-down layout, which is default. So maybe I can come in and I'll put layout horizontal, so HBox. It's something I've remembered. If you look at the layout option for containers, go back and refresh. And now I've got everything lined up: text, iteration dropdown, and release dropdown. That's awesome. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go down in my console here, git status, and it says you've modified app.js. Okay, so git add app.js. Let Git know that I'm going to keep my changes or register my changes. Git status again. I like doing status, just kind of it's rote, but now it says that it knows about it and it's modified. So cool. So git commit added iter and rel pull downs horizontally. And then, so now I've committed them to Cloud9. I could keep working in Cloud9 and make more changes in my sandbox, but now I'm ready to push it up to Git. So just for the sake of rounding out our example here, git push. If I go look in GitHub, let's go look at my ZZYX app. So here's on my app, and you can see the comment, added iter and rel pull downs, app.js, and there you go. There's the iteration combo box and release combo box. Okay. So that's the example I wanted to run through. So in short, right, we use GitHub as the definitive source of truth for our app. That's where we want to store the app that we want to share. We want to give this URL to our friends and family and colleagues to get access to your app and fork the app and extend it themselves. But as your journey to developing the app, we use Cloud9. And in Cloud9, if we go in the upper right-hand corner, go back to our little dashboard here. In Cloud9, Cloud9 was able to recognize that repository in GitHub. We cloned it, and then we started editing it. And then we have a development environment within Cloud9 to edit our files, build the app itself, debug it, and then we use that fancy the preview on the app debug HTML. We put it in preview mode, popped it out, and now we have a full URL that we can come in and test. And as part of the example, we did use real Rally objects to pull data out. So I hope this was useful. This environment is fantastic for just spinning up an app, as you see, within 5 minutes. If I did less talking, you'd probably do it in less than 5 minutes of spinning up an environment and coding and developing and testing and releasing an app for the Rally platform. I'll leave you with one additional tidbit, which is really powerful, and we've been experimenting with this a lot, is that you can actually invite folks, other people, your colleagues who are sitting next to you or sitting downstairs or sitting in a different country, to come in with this URL, and they can come in and collaborate in real time, and both of you, both folks or multiple folks, can actually work on the same file, and you'll see different cursors working there. I don't have anyone with me at the moment, so I can't prove that to you, but we've used that a lot, and it's really nice. Even just sitting side by side, we don't really have to share a monitor, but we can actually collaborate and work together on the files, and that's why I think Cloud9 is an awesome tool to use for building Rally apps. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you.